Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. It is Thursday, July 18th, and welcome to our program. We are having a great week so far. We're going to continue that with our show today. We're going to be talking to Board President Allison Bach. She's with United Mutual. She's going to give us an update on all the candidates that they have coming up, where you can meet them and find out more about them and be able to ask them some questions, as well as some of the things that are going on there in United, the latest meeting and some of the updates there as well. So we'll look forward to that. Right now, we want to keep you informed about an important event that's coming up. It is a Senior Scam Stoppers event and town hall discussion. It's going to be hosted by Assembly Member Diane Dixon. It's going to be Wednesday, July 31st, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Laguna Woods Village Community Center Boardroom, okay? And it's very important you guys get out there. You can learn from a specialist, Jackie Wiley, about how to protect your finances. You know, scams can be on the computer, on the phone, in person, and through a text. So there's so many ways that these scammers are going after folks, and so they're going to give you tips on some of the ways to recognize that and avoid them altogether. Seating is limited, so you need to call the number there on your screen, 949-798-7221, or if you want to go online, and there's a QR code under What's Up in the Village, and you'll find the Senior Scammer Stoppers event there, and you use the QR code and register that way. So either way, make sure you get a seat if you're interested in learning more about that. Hey, if you're interested in learning more about our weather, well, we've got that coming up right now. Let's take a look. We have great temperatures today, and then we get heat wave coming in starting tomorrow. High pressure is going to come in. It's going to push those clouds kind of away for a while that we've had in the morning. So we'll just have mostly along the coast the clouds, but temperature's going to bump up pretty well Friday and Saturday. It's going to be warm, if not hot, right? And then we start a slight cool off as we head back into the latter part of the weekend and the early part of next week on Monday. So a little mini heat wave for us here. It is summer. You have to expect these once in a while. Let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset. We got a real cool old Chevy here from the 1950s era that Ben Givens took a picture of here. It looks like he's at just some parking lot. Maybe a couple cars there. Looks some classics. Maybe he was at a car show. I don't know. Thanks, Ben, for that shot. We got the sunrise this morning. It was 5:54. Sunset tonight, 8 p.m. If you'd like to send us a cool picture of a cool car for a sunrise, sunset picture, we'd love to see that too, along with any along your walks, sunrises, sunsets, beautiful, beach shots, whatever you have, send them in to us. Email us, lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, and we will use it on our sunrise, sunset segment. Okay, if you like meetings, man, have we got a great day for you. Then when we come back, we'll be talking to Allison Bach from United. Stay with us.
What would it feel like to hear better? Many people are trapped in the isolation of poor hearing and don't realize it. Even people that are wearing other hearing aids. They only know the way they hear, not how much better they could be hearing. We've taken patients that were hearing 24% of conversations and improved them to 92%. A life-changing difference. Put on these hearing aids and hear better, automatically. No buttons to push or technology to fear. Artificial intelligence and these products do all the work. Don't settle for less. And remember, tell them Stuart sent you.
Caring Senior Service provides a variety of care services to help seniors age in place. We follow the mantra, when family can't be there, we can. We started our business almost 30 years ago because we realized that seniors in these situations still need loving care. To learn more about how we can help your family, contact us today.
At Motion Drip, we believe in proactive wellness. Our IV therapy is designed to give you the well-being you deserve. With increased vitamin absorption directly into your bloodstream, it will replenish your body with hydration and nutrients to support your body's functions, increase energy levels, slow signs of aging, improve muscle recovery, and boost stamina. We are located right outside of Gate 8 on Moulton Parkway. Give us a call or visit our website to schedule your appointment today, as we will be your proactive partner in wellness.
want to welcome back to our program Allison Bach with United Laguna Woods Mutual. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
You just got back from Switzerland,
Yes, I
but
did.
you're engaged right back into the board activities, and you guys have a lot of candidates to talk about.
Yes.
So every year there's a board election. Why is it every year? Why isn't it every 2 years or whatever?
Or four
or 4
years,
years and that
yeah.
kind of thing.
It's part of the bylaws, and it makes a lot of sense for a community like ours. We have 11 board members, and by having annual elections where part of the board rolls over potentially, we have a breadth of experience, we have new people who can come in. Also, maybe some folks get tired of it and it gives them a chance to step off. So it's a good way to broaden the understanding in the community of board activities, get people to participate. And by the way, publicity works, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys got a lot of candidates.
Yeah, it's great.
You're going to have 4 directors coming in, and
Right.
they're going to be assumedly brand new folks in here. And so, as a veteran, as somebody who's been on the board, how do you guys kind of help mentor the new folks in terms of the ways things work on the board, in terms of how they have to get involved, what they need to learn and understand?
That's a good question because it's a complicated and sometimes a very surprising process to new directors. So we do have formal board training. We do have a big fat book of rules and familiarizations that people go through. We have training session with our attorney, Jeff Beaumont, and it's a formalized process that brings people into the understanding of what it means to be a director. It's quite different from what they might have thought.
Right. Now, 11 seems like a large number. Why not 7 or 9 or 5 or what kind of? Is there a reason for the 11? Is just one of those things
it's an odd number.
That's the way. It's an odd number. I know.
Right,
I know why it's an odd number,
Yeah,
but it seems a little large. But it's just one of those things where they
Right.
wanted to have, and again for every
Right.
year of the turnover kind of thing
Right,
too.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, when you think of it, we do have 6,323 manors and resident units.
Right.
So to have 11 for that number.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Now, these 4 directors are going to serve till 2027. That's a
Right.
big commitment to kind
Yeah,
of take a
it
bite
is.
off of, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they really need to take that into account in terms of what their lifestyle is and the
Oh,
health
indeed.
and all those kind of things and how active they can be, because you're not just coming to a meeting, once a month. You
No.
are serving on committees. You
Right.
are going to a lot of other meetings.
Right.
You're building agendas, right? So
Right.
it's a task. Talk to me a little bit about what it takes to be a board member for folks who don't quite understand.
Well, first of all, the eligibility to run for office is pretty minimal. One has to be a resident in good standing, meaning no outstanding bills, not be married to another director or partnered. And so the minimal qualifications are there. But to actually do the job, one has to be, first of all, able to read and understand and comprehend complex materials, legal documents, resolutions, bylaws, and so on. Secondly, you have to be willing to put the commitment of time and effort into it, because there's weekly homework. It's not just the meetings, the formalized meetings
Right.
of committee or board, but it's almost, every single day you're thinking about what's going on. Another thing is that you have to be willing to think big. And not just about what the narrow interests of maybe your social group or your friends or your clubs have in mind, but the whole community.
Right.
There are over 9,000 people who live in United, so you really have to take into consideration the needs of all.
Right. And you have to look down the future, down the road, right? Hey, what are we going to be in 40 years, 50 years? I might not even
Right.
be on this earth at that point, but
Right, yeah.
you want to have the long-term interest of the community in mind when you're
Right.
making decisions like raising fees
Right,
and doing
sure.
infrastructure repairs. You
Yeah.
can't just keep kicking the can down the road.
Correct. And the fiduciary duty is a very serious one. And that means that one has to act for the common good, not the individual good, but for the good of all, and take fiduciary duty very seriously.
So let's talk a little bit about the election process.
Right.
You have 10 candidates, and we're going to talk about meeting, how you guys
Yeah.
folks can meet them a little bit.
Right.
But the process, it's an outside company that kind of runs these elections
Yes,
for you, right?
Unelect. Yep.
And how does that work exactly?
Well, they are contracted by us to run the election according to the state laws and to our own bylaws. And they are in charge of making sure that we have a fair and honest election. They run the election itself, the balloting, the mailing, the collection of balloting, tabulation. People can be sure that this is going to be a very fair and balanced process. The main thing is that nominees filed their applications by the end of June.
Right, which they did.
Which they did, thank goodness. Thank you all for doing that. And they submitted a 250-word candidate statement that sort of has become their platform.
Yeah, and that's kind of what those are their words to live by throughout the whole election process, right?
Exactly, yeah. And the statement also includes something about their background, their skill set, what other experiences they've had in work and in personal lives, and what their sense of purpose is in wanting to join the board. Now, coming up, we will start to see these people out and about in the village campaigning.
The campaigning can begin right now, right?
Yep,
They've been
it
qualified
can.
as
Exactly.
candidates, and they are
Yep.
going to be on the ballot. Their statements
Right.
are out there, so they can do that.
Yeah.
What are some of the do's and don'ts in terms of the campaigning process, I guess?
Well, most clubs, organizations, don't allow candidates to come in and politic during their
Speak
meetings.
to the club
Yeah,
meetings and those
right,
kind of
yeah,
things.
but they can be outside. So often they are greeting people outside the meeting room, saying hello, maybe distributing literature about themselves. And people can produce written statements that they can distribute. Some people have distributed those to doorways, placed them on the door, under the doormat, but not in and through, and definitely not in the mailboxes.
Okay.
So that's a big no-no.
No.
Now, we want to have a fair and an even playing field for all. So one of the most important things will be that Meet the Candidates event that comes up at the end of August. And TV6 is really important to us
That's
for
right.
that.
We'll be broadcasting that one.
Yeah. Over and over again, I hope. Yeah.
Now, can candidates get mailing lists or
Yes.
somehow do
Yes.
that if they wanted to do their own
Yes.
mailers and that kind of
Yes,
thing, and
they-
email lists and things like that?
Yeah. Yes, they can.
And
yeah.
so when folks feel like maybe they're getting spammed a little bit or like, how
Right.
are these things getting in my mailbox? That is
Yeah.
one of the ways that
Right.
candidates are allowed to do that.
That
So
is correct,
no one should
yeah.
be surprised by that when those
Right.
start hitting. How do they get my
Yeah.
address?
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to know the rules, of course, they can go and look at the rules at lagunawoodsvillage.com /residence /United Mutual. But go to that site and you'll see all the rules for folks and everything.
Exactly. Yep.
So let's talk about some of the deadlines we have coming up for this
Oh,
election.
boy,
And
yeah.
there's a lot of them, right?
Yes, indeed.
The ballots have to be mailed by the 27th.
All right.
And
August.
so-
Yes.
August 27th,
Right.
the ballots are going to be out there and mailed. So when are people getting the ballots receiving? Have they already started to receive them now that you have the candidate's name, or they're going
No,
out
they're
soon?
going to actually, sometimes people find that they have to withdraw. So they have until July 26th to make a decision if they've decided, no, this really isn't
Yeah,
for
maybe
me,
this
or
isn't for
something's
me.
happened,
Right,
and
right.
I'm not going to run. So during the month of August, we'll see who's actually still in the race, so to speak, and the ballots will be printed and mailed by August 27th. Then the balloting can start right then and there afterwards. They're either mailed back or deposited in a safe box right in the community center downstairs here for counting later on.
And so those are collected, and that done by the company, the outside company that
Yes,
was hired. So no, it's not like
No.
board members are going there grabbing them.
No,
And
nobody
so
is- no,
yeah,
no,
just in
yeah.
terms of the how they're carried through. There's never a time when anybody else is looking at
Correct.
these things except for the company who's running
Right.
the election for United,
is
right?
correct. Yep.
Just to be clear on that. And
Yep.
so then the ballots are going to be counted, like you said, tabulation, and that is going to be announced right then and there on the tabulation night.
On the 27th, on Friday the 27th, the ballots are counted and the announcement is made. And then on Tuesday, October 8th, the new board is actually seated.
And then they get that 4-year term.
Yes,
Then the real
3
fun
years.
begins.
Yes, exactly.
So the confirmed list of candidates are folks who maybe haven't noticed or haven't
Yeah.
seen this. So we got that list
Yeah.
here. A lot of names on here. I know you're not here to endorse anybody, but
No.
we got Maggie Blackwell, Pardis Brumand, Marie Collins, Jeannie Costello, Alan Dickinson, Max oh my goodness. Garzarse.
I think so, yeah.
Hassan Gafshi, Anthony Liberatore, Abbas Mohammadi, and Charles Prater, it looks like.
Right.
I'm sorry if I got anybody's names a little messed up. That was
Yeah.
my first read through on that one myself.
Yeah.
And so those are the candidates. Now, how can we learn about the candidates, especially how to pronounce their names? That's an important one.
Yes,
That's coming
indeed.
up on
Right.
August 23rd.
Right, August 23rd, meet the candidates. It'll be in the boardroom. And there will be an interview where current board members get to ask questions of the candidates. They get to respond. It's a very disciplined and time-limited kind of event. No one is allowed to dominate. Everybody gets an equal chance to talk.
You guys are running a clock kind of thing.
Yes, indeed.
Time is up.
Sure, yeah, cut off. And then everybody gets to make a 2-minute final statement. And that, again, is there like why you should vote for me. And so that's a very important meeting for everybody. It can be nerve-wracking because it's televised.
It's televised, and you're in front of, you're trying to make a good impression to the residents who are depending on their vote. Tell me what it was like for you the first time you ran and the first time you did this. What was it like? What did it feel like? Were you nervous? Did you have a bunch of stuff prepared?
For me, it was sort of peculiar because I did it via Zoom. I was in Switzerland at the time, so I really was insulated from the excitement of it all. And it was about, I think, midnight or something for me, and I was just, answering questions as they came in. So I'm not a good test. But many people do find it thrilling, shall we say, a thrilling kind of experience. And if they're not used to speaking to a large group or speaking from the dais, it can be a little intimidating. So practice, get ready. Rehearse. Yeah.
When you decided to run, what was your motivation? I mean, we're going to see a lot of candidate statements. I'm sure you had one and the reason, but what made you say, you know what, I'm gonna put in a lot of work for the next 4 years. I'm gonna instead of enjoying my retirement.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I had done it before in other communities where I lived. I had been president of my condo board in Florida. I'd been president and treasurer of my co-op boards in Manhattan and New York City. So I'd been doing this for years in other places. And there's a lot of similarity among these kinds of organizations. These HOAs tend to have similar rules, even if they're in different states. And I like doing it. And I like the fiduciary aspect because my background is in finance. So I felt I had something that I could contribute here. And I was familiar with the Golden Rain Foundation from the 1980s when I was privileged to help out with money management for Golden Rain Foundation in Seal Beach.
Oh, okay.
When I was working as a financial advisor at the time with Merrill Lynch. So I had that experience as well. So I knew the community or knew something about it more than other people might. So.
And how important is it, and I'm not going to talk about what side somebody's on in their opinions, how important is it for the candidates to really be working in the best interest? Even if you may have differing opinions on what that best interest might be, but they're really they're there to serve. Instead of having maybe their own agenda kind of thing that we kind of sometimes think of when sometimes we have a candidate out there. How important is it when you come on there, you have to think about the community?
That is critical. That really is critical. You have to be dispassionate. You have to be balanced and fair. You have to be willing to listen to all sides and come to a decision. Now, sometimes people say, oh, this is so overwhelming. There's so much information. I don't know anything about this. How can I possibly decide? And that's where the reasonable person rule comes in. And the state of California in the code says that directors need to, of any corporation, especially a nonprofit, have to be capable of making a reasonable person decision. We cannot be experts on things we know nothing about, or up to this point. But we can make a reasonable person decision, and that's what we have to do.
There you go. So candidate considerations when voting. What should people be thinking about in terms of here's the best candidate? And I'm not saying these are the rules. I'm just saying these are some ideas of what somebody should be thinking about as they consider each candidate and what their platform and what they have to say up there.
Well, that's why we're talking about this today, which is so early in the election cycle, it would seem. Because I hope that over the next few weeks, as people listen to candidates, get to see them, get to meet them maybe, they'll start to evaluate things like, does this person have some experience with other not-for-profit boards, for example? Do they seem to be capable of reading, understanding complex materials, and then communicating about them in a way that's understandable? Do they seem to understand the time commitment that's involved in being on this board? Do they seem to have a realistic idea about budget and finances? And are they prepared to make some tough decisions if necessary? Can they communicate clearly and comprehensively and respectfully with each other? And do they seem to be energetic enough to do the work and be part of a team?
Absolutely. Work collegially is certainly an important one.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What would you say to yourself? What was the biggest surprise? Maybe when you were first on an HOA in the condo, or what was the biggest surprise about what the job takes to do?
Other than the time commitment, I think the biggest surprise was that I almost felt like my individual rights to speak about anything I wanted to, in any way that I wanted to, were now under control a little bit. I had to stop and think, is this the way the board feels? Do I really have the right to say this without checking with other people?
Right.
You know, and so it's that sense of like, this is a we deal. It's not a me deal. It's a we deal.
And I imagine in the community, as you're out in the community, when somebody comes up to you, can you believe they didn't pick up the trash? Or can you believe the way the leaves are? You're not thinking as an individual, independent person. You are thinking
anymore.
as, I'm a board member, and so I can't be saying, yeah, that is garbage. What is going on over there? You know, those kinds of things,
and then to be able to resist pressure from people who say, "Oh, you're on the board. Take care of this."
Can
for
you?
me.
With the people walks whispering in your ear, kind of thing. Hey, can you take care of this? And I think that's one of the misconceptions about serving on the board is that oh, great, I know that board member. Now I'm going to get all these things fixed or all these things that I want to have done.
Yeah,
it's not the way it works.
Reality sets in. Reality sets in fast. Yeah.
So as the ballots go out, there's always some challenge. Hey, I didn't get a ballot, or oops, I threw mine away, or it was raining that day and it's my ballot got soaking wet. What should folks do if they're having a challenge with their ballot? They don't know where it is.
Well, there's of course the contact number with Unilect because they are the inspector and they are running the election for us. So there's a number that will be published. Everyone will be getting a brochure about how to do this when they get their ballot. So there will be the 888 number for contact, 866 number, and then just call to get a replacement. Again, one ballot per household. So if you've got a partner, you've got to agree on how you're going to vote.
Figure out what you're going to do. The whole house doesn't get, the cat doesn't get a vote, the dog doesn't get a vote. You have your own debate internally. You'll have a candidates debate inside the house.
Pick two.
Makes sense a lot. So what, as we're talking about this, here you are, last meeting you guys had, what were some of the things that you would say were the highlights from the last United Board meeting?
Well, I think that in general, the concern has been, of course, the 2025 budget.
Right. I was going to say that has to be it.
It's a big deal. And we had a very productive meeting yesterday afternoon where we looked at version 2 of the budget. It's just a case of looking at the challenge of higher prices for commodities and for labor. We live in one of the most expensive and desirable counties in the United States. Things are not cheap here, and we don't get any special deals. So we have to be aware of those higher prices and how it's going to translate.
Right.
We also have a special ad hoc committee that has just started to work that's looking for additional sources of revenue that United can generate. And that's being run by Tony Liberatore, and there's a meeting this afternoon, an open meeting. All ideas are welcome as to what else can we do to raise revenue rather than just always go to the shareholders.
And what does that look like? What are some of the ideas that were floated around on that? It's like raising fees for certain amenities that you go to. Oh, we're going to charge this much for the next concert or that kind of thing.
Well, that's a GRF issue.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to figure out. So,
right, yeah.
So where within the confines of United Laguna Woods Mutual can those things happen?
Boy, that's the challenge, isn't it?
I mean, come down to the ad hoc committee.
I haven't attended the meeting. I'm coming to it this afternoon, but the idea is, what is it that we can do under state law as a not-for-profit and within our confines of our bylaws to raise revenues? So there are a lot of ideas. I've looked at a list of about 19, and people have been kind enough to keep sending me ideas. you know, like open a shop, do some branded merchandise. I mean, those are the easy ones.
Sure, sure.
Set up a foundation so that we can receive gifts of real estate or money or whatever. So there are just a lot of ideas, but as to what's practical and what's legal, that's where we're sorting through that.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Allison Bach from United Mutual, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh,
Great
a pleasure.
information, lots of good candidate stuff, and
Yeah.
you're working hard, I know, so keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
Good to see you. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Friday movie. Stay with us.
Cirque du Soleil presents Kuza, an adrenaline rush of acrobatics and a zany kingdom of characters. Kuza opens June 8th under the Big Top at Laguna Hills Mall. Kuza thanks its official partner, Air Canada. Save up to 25% on bookings of 10 or more. Tickets on sale at CirqueDuSoleil.com.
Tickets are on sale now at the Pack for the California Club's entertainment event, Kenny Soteris Chicago Experience, a tribute to the band Chicago. Saturday, August 3rd, 7:30 p.m. at the Pack. Kenny and his 7-piece band with a 3-horn section will produce the true sound of the original Chicago band. The evening will highlight all the best of Chicago with songs like 25 or 6 to 4, Hard to Say I'm Sorry, and If You Leave Me Now, and more. You don't want to miss this one.
I heard that ugly 6-letter word, cancer, and I immediately felt lost.
Our team of women's cancer specialists help thousands of women like Naomi navigate and beat cancer.
I didn't want to be treated like a cancer patient, but like a human.
Our advanced imaging, targeted radiation, and minimally invasive surgeries offer positive outcomes that are beating national cancer survival rates.
I've reclaimed the most beautiful 4-letter word, life, because I had City of Hope on my side.
I know it's only Thursday, but we're going to talk about the Friday movie. It's a good one. Trumbo, Bryan Cranston. It's brought to us by Providence Mission Hospital. It's going to be on 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. It is a great story of Dalton Trumbo, Hollywood's top screenwriter, who was actually jailed and blacklisted for his political beliefs back in the 50s, back during McCarthyism. So great movie, and you'll enjoy that one. Our weather, it's going to be nice today. Then we have a heat building up for the next 2, a little mini heat wave as high pressure builds in. Then we cool off again for the last part of the weekend and early part of next week. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. For all of us here, we want to talk about Equestrian Center visit and Sports Corner Zone on tomorrow. That's going to be a good one. Now we're done with this edition of This Day. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. Remember me? I'm the king of whoopee. And you're watching Village Television. But everybody does.